that was all the questions that came in, but I can see comments coming in. So we are going to, let's go back. I'm gonna have to scroll back here. So I think we'll go with Matt's first. So this is quite an interesting one. When I started to learn a strategy, it's hard to tell if your data's accurate because my skill at that strategy could be lower at the start. So the idea that your skill is lower at the start. Do you ever throw out early data when your skill might be low, or do you keep it?
That is a really good question, and you're the first one to ever ask me that.
I don't remember seeing that.
No, that's a really good one. Okay, so do you want me to answer this, or are you?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so for me, I think the very fact that you're aware that your data might not be correct is brilliant. So for me, I think when you're back testing a strategy, it's a new strategy. I think if you start off, say, in January 2020 or what have you, I always say to the guys, I want at least 6 months, preferably 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say preferably 12 is because I know that January and February probably not going to be, there's probably going to be mistakes, etc., etc. And as they're back testing January and February, they're automatically thinking, oh, actually, yeah, if I add that into the criteria, that will make that one a winner and that one. And their starting criteria is not the ending criteria. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've seen that they almost, without realizing it,
shifts criteria. Yeah. I do it myself. I do it, obviously, because it's only once you start that you think, oh, yeah, right, okay, yeah, that works. And you tweak as you go. It's kind of like a running optimization as you're going. But at some point, you reach that set of criteria, and then you think, right, this is the one. But you could be up to May by then.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So, yeah, initially.
You've got back work to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I can't remember the original question. Flash it up again. Do you ever throw out? I never throw any data out at all. I always keep my data. But I do accept that the first couple of months, I don't really rely on as such. Yeah. It's like when you're working out your win-loss ratios and this, that, and the other, if you work backwards rather than from day dot forwards, I would say.
I think that what you brought up was really interesting. Is sometimes people want, if they're testing one of your strategies or our strategies through TSC, then there's this two assumptions come out that whatever we've tested is the absolute best. Well, that assumes that we've tested every variable possible, but we haven't. We've just got something that's worked and we've optimized it. So there's often that assumption. And this idea that your strategy molds. Most of the strategies that we trade in the swing room, and I'm sure it's the same with you, are not exactly the same as they were 5 years ago, or even 6 years ago. So there is an element of backpedaling. And as soon as you say that to people, well, you've got to backpedal and go back over your old data. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, do you want 20%, 10% a month or not? So sometimes you have to go forward, optimize your strategy, and then go back a little bit.
Yeah, if you're going to, if you completely change. It's like originally the pullback that I started trading years ago was a 21 pullback and an 8 pullback. But it's only when we discovered that it's the 5 and 15 suit the 5-minute time frame. But that meant that we had to start again with our back testing on the 15. Yeah. Just because it works on the 21 and the 8 doesn't mean that it's going to be exactly the same criteria. And it's not exactly the same criteria. So we've made it even easier now.
There you go. Yeah. So I think absolutely spot on with what you said. Some really key observations there. My answer to that, Matt, is I just follow the rule of, if I want to make 50% a year as a swing trader, I need to see 100% on paper. So what I'm assuming is some mistakes. It's like what you do with a collective group, Kerry. You don't assume that never assume your back testing is perfect. Assume mistakes and assume some positive bias, as in you will have chances are you will have missed losers and you'll see more winners than losers. So I just have a simple rule. I don't throw the data out, but I just don't assume that my back tested data is what I'm either going to get or what I need. So if I need 50% a year and my back testing data shows 55, in my mind, I shouldn't be trading that strategy because it's not got enough wiggle room, and I'm not allowing for enough bias and mistakes